The Minority Market. Episode 8. Developing Awareness of Your Own Biases. Every decision you make in the stock market passes through one filter before it becomes an action: your mind. Most beginners believe their decisions are logical, rational, and objective. In reality, they are heavily influenced by hidden biases. These biases operate silently, shaping perception, distorting judgment, and pushing behavior in directions that often lead to losses. Developing awareness of your own biases is not optional in markets. It is foundational. Biases are mental shortcuts created by the brain to save energy. In daily life, they are useful. In markets, they are dangerous. The market is an environment of uncertainty, incomplete information, and emotional pressure. Biases simplify complexity, but simplification in markets often leads to error. The majority loses not because they are unintelligent, but because they are unaware of how their own minds work. One of the most common biases is confirmation bias. This is the tendency to seek information that supports your existing belief and ignore information that contradicts it. When you believe a stock will go up, you notice only positive news, bullish charts, and optimistic opinions. Warning signs are dismissed as temporary or irrelevant. This bias creates tunnel vision and increases risk exposure without awareness. Another powerful bias is loss aversion. Humans feel the pain of loss far more intensely than the pleasure of gain. In markets, this leads to holding losing positions too long and exiting winning positions too early. Beginners avoid booking losses because it feels like failure. They hope the market will come back. The market does not care about hope. Loss aversion slowly erodes capital and confidence. Recency bias is another trap. This is the tendency to give more importance to recent events than long-term patterns. After a series of winning trades, beginners feel confident and take larger risks. After a series of losses, they become fearful and hesitate. Both reactions are driven by recent outcomes, not objective analysis. The minority understands that short-term results do not define long-term performance. Anchoring bias also affects many beginners. This occurs when you fixate on a specific price, opinion, or reference point. You might anchor to the price you bought a stock at, believing it must return there. Or you anchor to a target suggested by someone else. Anchors distort judgment and delay decision-making. The market does not respect your reference points. Overconfidence bias often appears after early success. A few wins create the belief that skill has already been mastered. Rules are relaxed. Risk increases. Discipline fades. Overconfidence is especially dangerous because it feels justified, until the market corrects it brutally. The minority remains humble even after success, because they understand randomness and probability. Herd bias is deeply rooted in human survival instincts. Following the crowd feels safe. In markets, it is usually expensive. When everyone is bullish, risk is often highest. When everyone is fearful, opportunity often exists. Acting against the crowd feels uncomfortable, which is why few do it. Awareness of herd behavior allows the minority to pause instead of reacting. Another subtle bias is the illusion of control. Many beginners believe that more analysis, more screens, or more activity increases control. In reality, markets cannot be controlled. This illusion leads to overtrading and exhaustion. The minority focuses on controlling behavior, not outcomes. This shift reduces stress and improves decision quality. Biases also interact with emotions. Fear amplifies loss aversion. Greed amplifies overconfidence. Ego amplifies confirmation bias. Without awareness, emotions and biases create a feedback loop that accelerates mistakes. The market exploits these loops relentlessly. The first step toward overcoming bias is not elimination, but recognition. Biases cannot be removed. They can only be managed. Awareness creates a pause between stimulus and response. That pause is where discipline lives. Without it, reactions are automatic and costly. Journaling is one of the most effective tools for bias awareness. Write down why you entered a trade, what you expected, and how you felt. After the trade, Review whether your decision was driven by rules or emotions. Over time, patterns emerge. Those patterns reveal your dominant biases. Another powerful practice is pre-commitment. Before entering a trade, define exit rules and risk limits. This reduces the influence of emotion during uncertainty. When rules are set in advance, biases have less power in the moment. Asking better questions also helps. Instead of asking, "Why will this trade work?" ask, "What could go wrong?" Instead of seeking confirmation, seek disconfirmation. This trains the mind to balance optimism with realism. The minority does not claim to be unbiased. They claim to be aware. This awareness allows them to slow down, reduce risk, and stay consistent. Consistency is not about being right often. It is about behaving well under pressure. Developing bias awareness is uncomfortable. It exposes ego, fear, and insecurity. Many avoid this work because it challenges self-image. But growth in markets begins where comfort ends. Every bias you recognize weakens its control over you. The market is not your enemy. Your unexamined mind is. When you learn to observe your thoughts without immediately acting on them, you gain an edge that most never develop. This edge is invisible but powerful. Becoming part of the minority means becoming a student of your own behavior. Charts and numbers matter, but mindset determines how they are used. Awareness transforms reaction into response, impulse into intention. As you move forward, remember this. The market does not need to change for you to succeed. You need to change how you perceive and respond. Awareness is the foundation. Discipline is the structure. Consistency is the result. This concludes Phase 0, the Mindset Detox. You have now confronted expectations, shortcuts, emotions, and biases. The next phase will begin building market foundations. But without this awareness, no knowledge will help. With it, every lesson compounds. The journey toward the minority mindset is not about perfection. It is about conscious progress. Observe yourself, question yourself, and keep refining how you think. That is where real market mastery begins.